So at the very beginning, when we were developing the project and we were doing research on immigration, we put out a call to our colleagues at Pixar and asked if anyone who has first or second generation immigration experience would be willing to talk to us. And we had an overwhelming response. We had over 200 people email us back and say they would talk to us. We ultimately spoke to about 100 people. And it was really incredible to hear these stories from people all over the world. So many had very similar experiences to Peter's family. And it really was, we spoke to them in kind of small groups of about 8 people. And it was there were funny stories, there were emotional stories, and that basically that really infused the film with I don't know, those stories wound up making their way into the film. And it was really an incredible experience. And a lot of those people eventually came to work on the film. And it just made us realize that we work at a company with just so much rich diversity. And we felt just honored to be able to share those stories, that our colleagues shared those stories with us.
The music in this film is one of my favorite pieces of this journey. We had Thomas Newman as our composer, and even saying that fills me with this sort of like great pride, only because, we have so much love for him, and I've been such a huge fan of his work. So getting to, we had shown him an early version of the film which he really connected to, and that just filled our hearts up in terms of what this relationship was going to be like. When we first started working, I really thought it was going to be about, I had a very specific idea of what this relationship was going to be like, but once we started talking about the moments, he was very much like a performer. He started talking about the music as another character in the film in terms of what the motivations of the music needed to be, what the energy and the vibe needed it to be. And he elevated the film in ways that I was not only shocked by, but just completely in love with how he was doing it. The idea of trying to create a vibe or an energy for what the fire culture would be, for what the city would be, and then also how this relationship grew, was incredible to see how he put all that together. Every time we went to his studio in LA, he would present some of these pieces with trepidation, but then once you would hear it, you were lifted literally, as the power of music can do. And we were just excited. Those were all temps, but then all of a sudden we were already at the production where we were going down to the Fox Studios, where he was going to get a live orchestra to record it. And I think one of the highlights of this whole production was that first time when we were in there. They had our film and all the images of the movie where our artists put their heart and soul up to was projected on this big screen behind this giant orchestra. And then once Thomas put the baton down for the downbeat, and that music that he had created was played live to it, it was one of the it married the film, and it just felt like that really amazing cinematic experience. And then Lauv was, I was a great fan of his music, and I had a temp version of one of his songs in this montage in the movie, and of when Ember and Wade are getting closer together and making connections. And we also played the film for him, and he saw it down at Disney, and we had our first sort of Zoom connection with him, and his outpouring of love for the film was really moving for us, and he really talked about this relationship that of Ember and Wade. And but then we'd have these sort of meetings with him on and off that were sort of taking its time, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere this song came that he had written, and it totally captured this feeling of what an elemental connection could be. And it sort of spoke of Ember's journey of knowing what her future was going to be, and then how that had evolved. And we didn't know that that's where he was going to go, but when we heard it, it just felt so perfect. And it's just a real gift. I don't know how many times in a creative life when someone gives a gift like that can really connect in that way. And it was again, one of my favorite things in the movie.
I think it has dazzling visuals. It has heart to it. It's funny. It's something we're proud of. The characters, I mean, I love the characters. I think it just is going to be a great experience for family and friends to gather together, to go to the movies, see it on the big screen, and just open their hearts to see Elemental.